Peace, y'all. You're tuned into the Edible Activist Podcast. I am your host and favorite go-to edible activist, Melissa L. Jones. On this show, we serve up empowering narratives and fresh perspectives straight from the voices of emerging Black people and people of color in agriculture and business. And in these candid conversations, we might sprinkle in a few choice words. They're the ones stewarding the land, healing communities, and championing food justice and economic empowerment across the country. Their contributions and stories sprouted from the earth truly embody the spirit of activism in their own unique, edible ways. So let's dig in and get started. Get into it. So Melissa L. Jones here, the Edible Activist Podcast, here with another episode of Cuzzin Chat. We're actually kicking off 2024 with Cuzzin Chat. So I got my girl Falani over here, Bird's Nest Box, Hot Girl, aka Hot Girl, aka Bird.
Okay. The watermelon lady.
The watermelon lady. Yes. And so we have a really great guest today joining us. Another cousin, Sean, Sean's Veggie Garden. Is that okay? That's what's up. So y'all know, if you've been following Edible Activists and Cuzzin Chat, very informal. We invite a cousin in and we chat all things food, growing, gardening, and some more shit. Black shit.
Yeah.
Peppers, pepper crisps.
Yeah.
Homegrown stuff.
Tea.
Ow.
And like real actual tea. Not the tea that y'all think we talking about.
Hello, exactly.
That part.
So we are sipping on some delicious tea because Falani never comes empty-handed at all. Can you tell the listeners what we're sipping on before we dive into our conversation?
It's a concoction of some hibiscus and dry fruits.
It is so good. And it is so good. Sean, how is yours?
Ginger.
Ooh.
Some sliced almonds. I meant to say that and just
what?
Somebody asked if anybody had a nut allergy. Yeah, girl.
Sliced almonds? Falani be showing out.
Yeah. It's a little mixture of some things. And so, yeah, I was like, it's cold outside, y'all. So I just been reminiscing on the summertime again. We have Sean in here. Sean was so instrumental in helping me with my inaugural farm year. And Sean is like a pepper master. He's a food historian, a chef. Yeah.
Tell it. He over there giggling. All of the things.
A grower and just so knowledgeable on everything. So, Sean, just tell us a little bit about how you got into food growing, how you decided what crops you wanted to focus in on, and your background. I know I said a lot of things, but we can just use those bullet points. Maybe we should start about your background first. You grew up and...
So my background, me and Melissa were just talking about it. So I'm not a D.C. native. I was born in Maryland, educated in Maryland, but my family, I guess for everybody, came from Carolina, other than my grandmother. Primarily, everybody lived in the city. So I kind of was back and forth between, well, not just Maryland, but grew up in Glen Arden. Mm-hmm. I lived in Oakland for a while, spent a lot of time in New York and the Bronx. And then back and forth to Carolina. So
you ain't telling me all that. You left that out the intro. That's okay. You left out some stuff, Sean, but okay.
So I've been fortunate to, kind of experience a lot of things growing up. I guess my background, in growing started with my grandmother. As a kid in the neighborhood I grew up in, like Falani, most of everybody was from Carolina, or they're native to Maryland, or they migrated. So one of the things about the neighborhood I grew up in, it was it's all Black, and it was based on being, I guess, a Black neighborhood or town, because a lot of people that came from other places didn't have an opportunity to buy houses.
Oh, okay.
So, and there's a few, I guess, famous people. So like when you go to PG County, you hear about Flowers, Sylvania Woods, all of those people that came from those communities help expand, Prince George's County. Sylvania Woods was one of the first Black judges in PG County.
Oh.
Flowers, he was a Tuskegee Airman, like Flowers High School,
I was about to say, is that the one
and
high
Dr.
school?
Wise. So all of them come from out of Glen. Then
Oh,
Bucky Trotter and I'm more leaning towards Tommy Broadwater. He's the owner of Ebony Inn, if y'all barbecue spot on Sheriff Road.
okay.
So
Tommy
he was
Broadwood.
also a state delegate. He just died within the last year. He he did a lot for the community. If anybody in PG County, Maryland, he was a bail bondsman on a barbecue spot. He did a lot for the community. Then I
Okay.
guess on the DC side, I had cousins that lived in Southeast Old Branch Avenue by Marion Barry.
Okay.
They lived a few doors down. So that side, I guess the intellectual, the more power political side. Then the other side is like I had cousins that lived in Southeast over 3rd Street. They weren't the most wealthiest. Then like my aunt I was mentioning, she outside of my grandmother like helped raise me and babysit me. So
Okay.
I was mentioning Melissa earlier. My mother used to work for CNP when it used to be down on 14th Street.
CEP is
The telephone company. So it was part
Okay.
of the Baby Bells.
okay. The baby
So-
bills of
Yeah,
Bill
so
South.
so
company.
Verizon is, I guess, what it was in the past, like AT&T, MCI. And then my aunt, she used to live in an apartment building on Georgia Avenue across from Howard.
Okay.
So she kind of babysat
That's
me.
around
Then
my way.
Then she moved up the hill to 13th and Euclid.
Okay.
So that's how I'm familiar with Adams Morgan.
And all of that.
Walker. And my cousin stayed
Yeah.
on Fairmont.
Okay.
And more family up 16th Street. So
Okay.
that's my inroads in the DC. And I was mentioning when I got out of high school, I went to Arch.
Okay.
So that was in Southeast, right across from Anacostia Southeast Station. And I learned to trade there. So that was like my introduction into living into the city or moving, coming from Maryland.
Okay.
So I kind of been, back and forth over the line. And then I guess I was mentioning like your farm at Walkers Park. Grew up there as a kid, like riding the train. Have you been to the nature center there?
Nah, maybe as a kid, because I remember going to the park as a kid, but that's funny that you brought that up because you probably know more about the park. Did you know about the plantation?
So I was telling her that until you were there, I knew nothing about it. And I didn't even realize till the last time we were there getting your drip cords. When I backed up, because I always either go in or park parallel.
Yeah.
So when I had backed up to let you out the gate and I looked through my mirrors, I've seen the trees there. I just never paid them no mind.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was an interest into
Right.
the plantation. And it was kind of like one of those moments, like that was our last day there.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn, that was a road like coming in. So that was interesting. So I guess my way into food was, living in this area, everybody, crabs and I don't eat seafood boils. Like I tell people, I don't want no wet crabs. And I do boils, but not the bag stuff and all that.
Yeah.
So a lot of seafood, and I guess up until I became an adult, like my mother didn't feed me sugar. I didn't eat like, if I ate it was say a cake. So I guess what. Back in the I can't even, I guess back in the day, you had dessert, sweets. Then my aunt used to make the little freezy cups. My grandmother made like upside down pineapple cake.
Oh, I love a pineapple.
And then I guess as an adult, I laugh so now with a lot of farmers. I do not eat collards and I do not grow them because I don't like them.
Collards.
But I will.
Did you
so
say that?
Yeah. So the caveat is, and not to be biased, like I'll eat them at somebody's house or like when I go to North Carolina. But it's no restaurant up here that I eat them at or even attempt to. I take that back. I'll get them from Everlasting Life.
Okay.
And like I'm a meat eater, but I don't like meat in my greens.
Okay.
Because it takes away. And it has to be one of them things like who's cooking it. I'm particular. It's not my favorite. I prefer kale over collards.
Yeah.
But it goes back to like, when you go down south when they're prepared, I'll eat them that way. But most times I won't eat them prepared.
Fair.
Up here, so.
Fair.
And I guess getting the food ways, like growing up with my mother and my grandmother in the house, my grandmother kind of did all the frying and, stewed
Grandma
chicken.
did all the frying.
But my mother,
Y'all heard that?
but my mother,
That's
she,
it. And the stewing.
exactly. But my mom, she never, she didn't do, so like my mother's the type, we would laugh sometimes, like she'll go to the wharf. It was unknown in the wintertime to eat shrimp back in the day or that type of thing. So she did a lot of bacon, a lot of seafood, and more. She didn't do. I can count on my hand like how many times I've seen my mother fry something. So
Okay. Because some people don't like to fry.
yeah, that's
I
just
got
not
an aunt
her.
like that.
Just because, like,
She don't like the mess. She don't like the oil on her stove.
the smell. I understand.
And her stove look brand new.
Yeah, so and that
Because
was
she don't
Be
fry.
20 years old, 30 years old. Because she don't fry.
so that was kind of like my leeway into food. Then I guess growing up in this area, with it being multicultural, you get a lot of introduction to different people and different foods. So that sparked my interest in, trying different things. So when it came to me growing, and the growing part it was by accident.
Okay.
So this is my first year as I guess a legitimate business.
Okay.
And into the ag side, because I don't have a background into agriculture.
Okay.
So with Falani, thank God, and seeded, and I did some work at Ujama this year also. That was kind of like my introduction from transforming from, I guess, garden plots to actually farming. So it was kind of like, it wasn't overwhelming, but it was shocking just to, it's a lot, the transition.
Yeah.
And as far as the hot peppers, always like, since I've been a child, eating hot stuff. So my primary things were peppers, tomatoes, beans, and then I haven't been as successful with my watermelons as Falani has. So that seeing her do hers and her having the sweetest melon out of all the melons I tested.
Oh, yeah, because Sean is a watermelon tester too, y'all. I forgot to add that to his repertoire.
Yes.
A watermelon tester. Tell us about the watermelon research and all that stuff you do, Sean.
So what I found out was I bought a Brix meter this year to test. So the Brix meter is the sweetness of it doesn't have to be melons, of tomatoes or whatever, how the context percentage of sweetness and or sugar. So this year I went on and got a meter. I saw some research, I guess from the past, just different levels of the sweetness of melons. The majority of them were GMO melons. So for Falani melon, it was like 13%.
Yeah.
And that was pretty high for a melon that wasn't a GMO melon.
Right.
And then I guess I delved into the rabbit hole of watermelons. And one thing I found out that they all come from Africa. I guess South Carolina is the epicenter of watermelons in the country. I may be wrong, but just from some of the research, that I've seen.
Yeah.
And I guess one thing that was disturbing, so the year before COVID, or that was 2020. So like 2017, 2018, I started like looking for certain crops, to grow on my own that was different from everybody else.
Okay.
But when I went to go buy the seeds, they were either sold out or back ordered. So 2019 is when I found out, get them in the fall, not, like everybody else in the spring and the summer.
Crop planting is, yeah.
Exactly. And this year was the terminology I learned for crop planting and all that, which I never knew. So I got a little bit ahead of the curve before 2020, before COVID.
Okay.
Thank God I did, because we all know what happened,
a shortage,
that year.
yeah.
And then one of the things that made me search out more watermelon seeds was just hearing the history of it and the different varieties of melon. And I guess to me it became a little disturbing, because a lot of the names for the watermelons are the names of the plantation owner or somebody in agricultural research that got the label on the melons. And it's like, they hear the stories of, when you hear the Tulsas, all these towns where black people existed and, gained fortunes.
Yeah.
A lot of it was through crops and watermelons and the characters of, that they made of characters of black people eating watermelon.
Campaign. Yeah.
It came to discourage black people from eating it because they were gaining wealth of it. And that adds to, like, I guess one of the things with Xavier and the Black Dirt Collective, I was so glad to go to a watermelon festival this year.
Yeah.
Because it did dispel the whole character, and then I guess being older and saying younger people like, okay, we're not gonna live by that standard of not eating or that character.
Watermelon in the public.
Exactly. And that's where I first met Melissa at, because I was laughing the next day. Well, people was like, oh, and I'm like, I know Melissa because she came with Falani. I didn't know she had, a podcast and all that. So people, I was like, and I guess being on this side and a lot of things, I've come across like humbly, just by associating, not knowing, not as a popularity contest, just humbly meeting people and sharing information.
Yeah.
And I got into the pepper thing. A friend of mine, he was making barbecue sauces. So I was like, you got a hot one? He was like, no, because he don't eat enough of hot. So I was like, I got some Reapers and some Scorpions
Nice.
because you make a sauce. So he was like, yeah, I don't care. So he made it. So he was like, "You got any more peppers?" I was like, "Why?" I was like, "I thought you didn't eat them." He was like, "What I had left over." He's like, "My coworkers, they enjoyed it." He's like, "I
Yeah.
didn't think it would sell." So
See,
when they
people like that spice.
when the summer came around, he was doing different pop up events. So I started going with him, and he was telling people the peppers were mine. So that kind of encouraged me to to sell my plants, and I would bring tomatoes or other crops. And from there, that was 2020. So from there, I started doing like pop ups, and then one of the Good Hope Hydroponic, they opened a store in Virginia. So what's this, 2024? So in 2022, every other Sunday, they would do like a market at the VA store.
Okay.
So, and that's Daniel at Good Hope. He would allow me to come and bring all my plants and, do a little bit of education. So
Nice.
from there, and then, so I got my name, Sean's Veggie Garden.
Uh-huh.
Because I wasn't like taking it serious. I'm like, I'm just going to go
Oh.
to some events,
Uh-huh.
make a couple dollars. So somebody be like, you got to have a name.
Uh-huh.
I was like, my name is Sean. Like, what else,
Uh-huh.
that. So I do have I have a degree in banking and finance. So I do have
Okay.
a degree in business. So I should have known better, like, to be, I wasn't taking it as a formal thing.
Uh-huh.
So one of the events I was doing at the Black Market, the Lady T, she went on, it just made Sean's Veggie Garden for me, and it kind of like stuck. So being in that realm of that's what saying I coming from an agriculture background, I was strictly doing like pop-ups, community events, taking plants with me, and then once it got cold, I was like, oh, I paid for events, I gotta have something. So that I started, drying my peppers out, drying the tomatoes out, making rubs, making sauces,
Yeah, them pepper rubs you make are real good.
and then I guess that
Like a
turned
dry
me-
rub type
Yeah,
thing,
the
but a
dry
pepper
rub.
rub?
It's
Sean,
like
why
a
am I...
pepper. It's dry, but it's like,
I use it at the fish.
I don't know how to describe it. He makes shrubs too. Tell him about that.
Oh, so that's what I was gonna bring today, but I got
well,
behind-
where is it?
it's you're not coming. Well, I was gonna bring it Saturday for
The pepper pop up.
yeah. So a shrub, and I guess it goes into the food thing. I guess I'm about to scream on a restaurant. So for my birthday in September, I went to a restaurant called Albie at the Navy Yard. That's where I found out about the scrub. So what I found out, and it's kind of crazy because it's interrelated with farming. So if you ever heard of fermented fruit juice, where they just take sugar and you put it over top of fruit and let it ferment, and you use that. So people use it like for fertilizer. And you can also use it like an artificial honey.
Oh,
And you can feed it. You know how people like use molasses and different.
Yeah.
So it's one of the Korean things.
okay.
This is kind of an extension of that. So you take a fruit, put sugar on it, let it sit, ferment for like a day or two. Then you add vinegar to it. Then on the third day, you strain it off, and you mix it with either alcohol or whatever your preference of sparkling water.
Yeah.
So at Albie, they did one with rose water, Topo Chico water, sparkling water, and they use a peach nectarine.
Oh,
And then they topped it off with like a rosebud on top of it.
damn.
And when I say it was delicious,
That
it was
sounds
like
Oh, I bet.
delicious. And then my other friend, they had got a mint lemonade made with molasses. So, oh my God, it was
Mint lemonade with the molasses.
yeah. So they're a Lebanese restaurant.
Okay.
So one of the things that made me want to go was that they use the what is it, the CP Island pea.
The Sea Island peas. Yeah, we served them at the dinner.
So they don't serve it dry. They serve it the green version.
Okay.
So
Fresh.
fresh. So they had crab hummus, fresh crab, meat on top of the hummus. The service and everything was like the best.
Uh-huh.
I had got a grape leaf rockfish with the Sea Island pea, herbs on it. Only thing was they served and it's a Michelin star restaurant. My fish came out raw.
Oh,
So
damn.
when it came,
Remember, we were talking about this at
that's what had
Falani
me.
dinner.
That's what had me so
Nah,
paranoid.
because the experience sound dope as shit, but when that happens, it's like,
Because I'll be on my list for a minute.
And that's what had me at the dinner like so paranoid about making sure the rockfish was cooked properly. Because getting raw, I was like, I didn't want to serve it like that. And I mean, even outside of that, they still try to make up for it.
Yeah.
As far as so they brought out ice cream. It
which
was
is good.
It was lavender sesame ice cream with charred
That sounds
figs on top.
divine. Oh,
So
gosh.
the experience was, I was just so, if it wasn't my birthday, I wouldn't have been mad. I was being petty, like I ain't even want to eat the ice cream. And it was, but everybody else with me ate it. You know what I'm saying? So
That's funny. Right.
Too, that joint sound bomb.
Bomb as shit.
and they gave it to us to go also. And we didn't, you know what I'm saying? So it was an experience. So that's kind of like a segue into, with me with food. So like I try to experience and a lot of my friends laugh because I really don't do like chain restaurants. I try to stick to, local. And then like in this area, it's so many different restaurants to go to.
And all different cultures, like you said.
Yeah.
The
International.
experience. And then living then outside of, I guess the thing that I missed out a lot on this year was I spent a lot of time on the water. So this year I didn't really get to spend a lot of time there.
Oh yeah, you also into the water. Tell us about that life.
So I fish and I do a lot of fly fishing. That's like my personal escape on the water. But I like crabbing.
Wow.
Digging for oysters
Fly
and all that
fishing.
type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people don't realize from here we can be in the bay within 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And, crab, fish, go to the beach, and it's free.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, with us being so close to the bay, a lot of people don't
Take
We don't
advantage.
take
don't take
advantage
advantage
of it.
of it.
Yeah.
And
Can
I
we
mean-
go crabbing? Can we
We
go?
need to.
Oh yeah, I mean I
soon as the
got crab
season
traps,
start.
crab nets.
Let's do it,
drop
y'all.
lines.
I'm so serious.
Yeah, so from your farm, it's 20 minutes away, straight out Central Avenue,
Oh,
straight
let's
to the
do
bay.
this, y'all.
All right.
So that was something I wanted to integrate more into.
Okay.
I guess the farming experience
Right,
is just a different. Like when I
absolutely.
register for my farm number, when they raise oysters, they have to get a farm number also.
Okay.
So that was something I never knew. Even though it's in water, they get a farm number like you do on land for their oysters. So
Okay.
that was something I learned, different. But this year I wanted to kind of like integrate more of the water part into, the farm and the experience part.
Yeah.
And especially with this region, because there's just so much like available that's around it. Like I guess the last I mentioned was we went to Black Sauce in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, black sauce. Oh my
So
god. that
I like
food
going
was
to
so
Baltimore
I
a
hate I
lot.
missed that trip.
Oh my god.
I hate I
Have you
missed
been
that trip.
there?
I've never been.
Girl, you
That was
gonna
the
be
same
in
day you
for a
came
treat.
over, and I said, "Damn it, I hate that I missed that."
Lord have mercy.
And they're farmers too, part of the farmer line. So everything there is farm to table. And I like them because it's they don't serve the same thing twice.
Right.
So it may be months before they'll serve it again.
I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
it's not I mean to me, and it's just like if it's a good menu, today's Wednesday also, so their menu is out for tomorrow. To take the ride up there is worth the trip, and it's not expensive.
It's so good.
And this gives you a and I guess going up there kind of reminds me of how DC used to be
Okay.
Yeah.
before I guess
Yeah,
gentrification and the
it's
change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
They didn't
Well,
tone
Baltimore is
down
one
the
of my-
seasonings and tone down the spices in this bitch.
Is it tone? They just don't use them.
Yeah. They didn't cater to these people's palate, boy.
Absolutely. No flavor. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It is. That's why I'm very selective about where I eat. Very.
Absolutely.
Baltimore is one of my favorite food cities, though. So
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite.
yeah, I mean it's still cheaper up there. You don't have to worry about parking as much as here.
Yeah. Food is cheaper up there. The food is better up there.
Yeah.
Like it's Baltimore got it going on.
And then people don't look at you crazy here, like what you doing here type of
Yeah.
thing now. And it's
Which
one of
just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. I know Falani talks about this a lot. Just
And I
feeling
don't
like
want to talk about
I
it
know,
today. Just
I
coming
know,
up in here, up to this joint.
I know. But it
It's
breaks my
construction
heart.
everywhere.
Yeah. I just hate that, you all feel like outsiders in a neighborhood
Yeah,
that
it's
you
crazy,
felt like
y'all.
you used to belong, like you do belong to, but you don't feel like you belong to anymore. Like the whole landscape has changed.
And then even that concept of family in the house and knowing that grandma gonna be doing the
Right,
frying
right.
and the stewing,
Yes.
that's gone.
I know.
You know, it's just like okay,
Yeah.
it ain't nothing like going to somebody's house and a pan of fried chicken is on the stove. So, Lord have mercy.
right.
That is one warm feeling, and they don't make them like that no more.
No.
I mean, my mother would
No.
do something, but her generation.
And I guess it's part of what I do enjoy, this part of growing and kind of like reintroducing things. Like, it was a shock, like working with Falani with her dinner was like, wow, she prepared like everything. And you really don't run across so many people that I guess know how to just not cook but like prepare food.
Yeah.
You know, it's no ranch on it, no it was like everything. Even like we was at Watermelon, you brought those fried green tomatoes.
Oh,
yeah.
and we were
chopped
tearing
them
them things up
down.
when we left
I mean,
Hyattsville.
it was
God, we was eating them on the
On
way.
the road.
That
'Cause
thing
you was
hit
like-
like that fried chicken on the road trip to the family.
I
Lonnie
mean, they
had
was
this
still
little
nice and
bag.
crispy.
Because you had that little bag that
Yeah.
kept up.
Yeah.
Lonnie said, I got some fried green smell. I said, word.
Yeah, they were delicious.
That's how
I-
Sean and Melissa met over fried green tomatoes.
Yes, we did. And those experiences remind me of my Southern experiences, you know, walking into grandma's house in Mississippi. And I still get to have some of those experiences with Auntie Megan. She'd be like, when you flying in, I want to make sure I have some fried fish for
Right.
you. You know, like those moments,
Yeah.
like I get to like relive a lot of those experiences that I had, you know, going back down south. And they're so important to me. I even think about like my great aunt who's transitioned on for some years now in Chicago, because a third of my family, you know, they left Mississippi and went to Chicago. And like, I remember I only had her chicken and dumplings once. And she was like the only family member, from my understanding, who knew how to make them from scratch.
Uh-huh.
And so I still remember to this day walking into her house on a very cold February in Chicago to like a pot of chicken and dumplings.
Lord, have
And
mercy.
for those who don't get those experiences and those moments, I'm just like, how can we create more of those? You know, like Lonnie's dinner, everything. Like Sean on the grill with that fish and that, like, I'm like, that's what I yearn more
And that's
of.
what we gotta recreate.
Absolutely.
We have to
Kate.
be the ones.
We
are
do.
the ones that used to do that. Mm-hmm. So we have to recreate those moments and do that. Do these events and hold the space
Absolutely.
that brings remnants and all of that stuff in, because the chicken and dumpling.
Bad.
When you
oh my gosh.
now that this is something we gonna start doing, because you want to something. We gonna all go around and talk about a dish that somebody made in our family, but the same dish, because yours is the chicken and dumpling.
Yes. And I don't
That
even eat
recipe-
meat no more.
See?
But that was my meat eating
You
days.
still remember though.
Still remember fresh dumplings, like
And
in
that
a
recipe
pot.
raining from Mississippi that migrated on up to
Chicago. Yeah.
And then my mother, one time my mother family is from Alabama. Mm-hmm. They from Goodwater, Alabama.
Good water.
In
Probably was some good
Anniston, but
water.
then they kind of had left and went to Birmingham,
Yeah.
to the city or whatever. Anyways, we went down there, and her cousin George, he too made for breakfast a pot. I remember we stayed in their grandmother's home, and Alabama is real country,
Very.
and stuck in a time.
It is.
And this is probably like over 20 years ago.
And nothing's changed.
Anyways, nothing.
Nothing.
And so he made that pot of chicken and dumplings, y'all. And them dumplings was so nice and just kind of heavy and fluffy at the same damn time.
Yes.
And I was looking at his stuff. I said, he only got black pepper and salt.
That's it.
Because my mother wanted them. She in the seasonings and stuff. So I was like, damn, he did all that with just some black pepper and salt. Chicken and dumplings was just the best.
Bomb.
That Southern chicken and dumplings. So you got a family member that did that chicken and dumpling?
My grandmother, that's what said she stewed chicken, drained it off.
Mm.
And then, so I guess my grandmother, all my great aunts,
Yeah.
it really was no different. They all
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
Then they all prepared.
Yeah.
Shit. And then I have a cousin. She's the oldest now out of everybody.
Uh-huh.
So we was just down there. I was just down there in December.
Okay.
And she cooked breakfast. She got a little irritated because I left off. I didn't eat breakfast with them. I mean, it wasn't because it was cheese toast.
Okay.
Bacon, smoked sausage, eggs.
Good
and,
old country
yeah, but she make
Yep.
like the best, I think, chicken and dumplings out of everybody. And she makes the hand, the the dumplings, the pastry,
Yeah.
Yep.
from scratch.
That
And
Exactly.
drop it down,
Yeah.
chicken at it, it gets
Yep.
the gravy, cook
Yeah.
down. So
Yep.
most definitely.
Yep. Ooh, I like that.
Lord.
Thank you, Falani.
Then you
That
make me
stuff
hungry.
is warm.
It's cold.
That stuff feel warm, don't it?
Warm
It's just
and
like
gravery and the bones and the meat was
That's what
falling
you
off.
call.
And
Now we know why they named our food soul food. Because it's so soulful. A bowl of chicken and dumplings. And now I'm going to go home and request that my mother make some.
well, listen,
Because I know she make them.
I'm over here wanting some fried green tomatoes now.
It's hard to find them, but me and my mother did have some because we bought some fried green tomatoes from Florida.
Okay.
They out of season right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Sean and I, we're going to have a kitchen field. And we're going to be doing some stuff in our kitchen field.
I'll be donating the crops.
Yeah. The seedlings and all
Well, let's talk more about the kitchen field. What is this? Y'all gonna be cooking out in the field?
Well, we didn't think about it like that.
Oh, so I guess from
But-
like the dinner, and me and Falani were talking about different crops to grow, like to see out the peas. Like I order them from
Rolling Raws, something like that.
Rollins Raws on Instagram. So I actually acquired a bunch of those different seeds. When you had them from the dinner. So like the last couple months, I've been like in the rabbit hole, like accumulating seeds, and I'm waiting for. I don't know when they're gonna get here now. I ordered some seeds from Iowa from a farm, but with the weather condition out there,
Yeah.
I don't. And so these people you have to fill out a sheet, submit a money order, and mail it, and they let you know.
These exclusive seeds you was telling me about.
Yeah, so the people let you know on the website, like, don't call because we farmers. We don't have time to answer the phone. We don't have no internet as far as
They just checking
put
mail.
orders in. And I guess they tend to
Snail mail it.
So when she updated the other day, I guess they have a lot of chickens. So she was saying, it's been like -10 out there.
What?
Yeah, the other day it was like
Where is this?
in Iowa.
Somewhere where I would never be going.
Yeah, so she was mentioning, I guess, with the weather that I guess the people that work, and I mean, those type of conditions, I don't expect anybody. So everything going to snail mail. I send them off the week before last, so it usually takes 2 weeks turnaround. But I'm expecting them to come probably the beginning of
And
February.
look, and that Sea Island pea is interesting because we grew up calling them field peas. Some people call them crowder peas.
Exactly.
Y'all call them crowder peas now, Mrs.
We call them field peas.
Right? Field peas.
Field
too.
peas.
Okay,
Yeah, field peas.
Oh, and I had the Charleston Gold rice. I cooked it.
Oh my God,
That
Charleston Gold rice is
was
so good.
Yeah, it's
good.
oh my God, it was delicious.
We made the last of the bag the other night. Oh my God, that rice is nice.
Everything was great. Falani, y'all did that.
Thank you, Melissa, for being our media sponsor. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Sean, for being our food sponsor. We just came together. Chrissy of Charismatic Creations,
Them
beverage
drinks were
sponsor.
bomb. Well
mean-
curated, crafted like you did. It was a beautiful.
yeah, I mean-
it was a
Vista Print sponsor all the beautiful
Teva.
print stuff. Teva sponsor gifts for the boots.
It was a
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
you did a great event. Everybody
beautiful
like
night.
now asking like when. I was like, that happened in November. Like
We doing something. We gonna be
Well,
doing
see, that's the
some
type of
things.
stuff that spoils me when people listen. I blame y'all. Like, it's like, Melissa, what are some of your favorite spots? No, I'm about these exclusive events where I know real
Right.
good food, farm to table, real
Guaranteed.
farm to table, guaranteed. They can throw
Guaranteed.
down. That's what I see.
oh, and your
that's
aunt
what I
Kate.
see.
Oh my God, it was
Oh
delicious.
yeah, Aunt Vicky made the
Oh yeah, that
rum
cake, was good. Everything.
and my good friend Narissa hosted at her house. It was just nice vibes.
The hot
Did
sauce,
it feel like y'all
man.
was in a family oriented?
Oh, yeah, I mean-
Absolute. The vibes at the table were vibing. Like we
Yeah.
like the synergy at that table. Like it was there. Everybody was talking.
Nice.
We're laughing, drinking. We're sharing. It was. There was nothing static about
Yeah.
that evening.
Then your uncle, I guess he made everybody feel welcome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Uncle Artist Ray
Yes.
did that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Came through. He bought that turkey barbecue
Oh yeah, that was bomb.
from North Carolina.
Yeah, that turkey
Yeah.
barbecue was good.
Well, it's always been my dream as the non-farmer and the non-cook to have like this big ass out in the field farm to table dinner.
Let's do
Us.
it. Let's
Like,
do it. Let's
for
plan
us,
it
by
out.
us, like black
Let's
farmers,
do our first one
purveyors.
this year. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's
I'm
do
looking
it.
forward to that one.
We can go
I'm
out
talking
somewhere
long
in the hills, rent a
tables
mansion.
Yes.
Really do it.
Let's do it. All right. Well, here, I want to kind of not entirely divert the conversation, but the things that have just been going through my mind, right? We talk a lot about collaborating and partnerships and, and being intentional about who we do work with. And obviously, like the collaboration between you and Sean was like great and it was phenomenal. And thank you to all the partners and people who are involved in that. But just going back to Sean, again, Sean, you left some stuff out when we were talking earlier today, but it's okay. We hadn't officially turned on the record button, but I did not know that you had a degree in banking and finance, right? So we have banking and finance, we have farmer, media person who's also an event planner by trade. Like having all these different expertise, in the room, it also just says a lot because it's not just what we do isn't just like linear.
Right.
And so in order for us to really build something great, build something that's sustainable, we need to be connected to people who do things that we necessarily cannot do or not super like versed in.
Yeah.
So I just really want to speak more to that, just the importance of just having that diverse set of expertise in a room, even within this space, and like how building together, will help us to build something even greater and more sustainable.
Yeah.
Because Falani's a farmer, but you're a farmer, you are a artist, like you have products, commerce, like it's not just one thing. And Sean is a grower, but he also is like on the business side too, and so like we need more but also great people who we trust.
And you blink and
Like,
like,
no, I don't sugarcoat that. Like, you ain't even trust everybody, and everybody ain't for you to collaborate with. And then there's some people you just do your business, and you like that's it, So,
but you brought up a good point because there's so many different aspects of what we do, and Lord knows I cannot stand paperwork. I really do not like paperwork.
you said that.
Like,
Yeah.
almost despise opening up my laptop. However, it's so much stuff on the back end that you need to do, and so Sean be so helpful with giving me the forms to fill out.
That's what's up.
Different registrations, put me on the different, grants, conferences, like the production back inside, because there's so much stuff out there that maybe I wouldn't even think about. Because I'm not even tapped into that side. So I am thankful. Because what would you even call that type of position? Would it be in farm production or stuff?
Yeah,
or
so
in terms of how you support? Because it is a lot of business support,
Yeah.
And that's the part I've been trying to like figure out. And those are mostly like the tech. So last year I was a grantee for the DC Foodscapes grant through DC, what is it, DOEE for DC Urban Ag.
Okay.
And the Chesapeake Trust managed the grant. So I was one, I guess out of all the grantees, the only independent like person that wasn't an organization.
Wow.
So
good.
what Falani mentioned with the backside, with me mentioning that being from the agriculture side, I guess coming in from another direction. So as I mentioned, I helped Falani seed it, and then I did like some work with Ujama. And then the beginning of last year, I did a class at UDC, the biointense class with Dr. Merritt. So that's where I got like, more insight on the ag farmer side. But one of the things I noticed was a lot of, I guess farmers or people transitioning to farming, like you mentioned, don't have the business side down or business plan, or a lot of people feel like this area is heavy with nonprofits, and people feel if it's a nonprofit, it's quote unquote not a business or they're here to do goodwill, and that's not necessarily the case.
At all.
They basically
Let's dispel
they
that at
basically don't
all.
pay taxes, so it's not that they're a better or not capitalist. Like I was with a farmer last Monday, and we were having a conversation, I guess, about the capitalism part intruding on farm, and I was like, I personally don't agree with it. I say because if we didn't live in the capital, and it's different ways to go with this, but I guess some of the things that we want out of life, you know, people still like to have nice things. So that's a part of capitalism also. And it's like one of the things like noticing like I guess like helping you out in the field this year is saying like, okay, for you to do everything, your marketing, your farming all by yourself, it takes a lot. But it's like, okay, you still like you said with your backside of paperwork. And then just the days I was able to physically go out and help, it helped me a lot because it's like, damn, I'm going from there. This is a lot type of thing. But it's also like, all right, I'm out here putting my time into it. Like, I got to be able to support myself. I can't. And I guess is where, so part of my grant was to, I guess, deal with food sovereignty.
Okay.
And I have 3 clients in the Eastland Garden neighborhood where I installed raised beds into their properties, and every other week I had to do education. So part of my education part was like I did a canning class, and one of the classes I went to capstone with was a dinner, which for Falani I was able to like that's why I curated to help. And it was based around food sovereignty, cultural crops. So that's why I was glad to be able to collaborate with Falani.
That's awesome.
So I didn't know how I was going to do it, so it was a blessing. Like it happened. But like one of the classes I did was a canning class,
Okay. We need to, and I missed that, but we need to learn that.
and part of the canning thing I was mentioning is like a financial apparatus. And some people like, it's farming. Why would you do that? I'm like, if you're growing your food and you're preserving it, that's less money that you have to spend on food down the road.
Right.
So we all know the prices. I got some pickles from Easter Market on Sunday. They were $8.
Wow. A little court.
Yeah. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I grew enough cucumbers, and I know better. But it's like, all right, going forward, the things and then one of the things also a different perspective with my pickling class. That was so I held it at UDC. Thank you for them for allowing me to use that space. Was that I didn't notice, but I had Sam from Seated with Monica and Gabe. He had came, so it was a chef, actual farmers, and the clients to where there were things there that the chefs had never seen before, or the variety of peppers that they were interested in. So to be able to have that, I guess, like intimate space
Oh.
to for everybody to interact. But those are the kind of things like I didn't mention it with financial, but part of my curriculum was like, okay, if we're dealing with food sovereignty, them growing their own food or their own type of crops, they couldn't grow everything, but it's like, okay, if I can grow this herb and it has dual purposes, then I also use some of the stuff they grow because I don't necessarily compost. I do like ferments. So I
Okay.
was saying, and that was because of pressure from rodents and things like that. Everybody,
Okay.
you can compost, but some neighborhoods you can't because you'd have to deal with, you can either attract the rodents or whatever.
Right.
So I was trying to do, and out of the 3 families, one was a beginner farmer, one had a lot of experience. Oh, then the other thing that I had to realize, so one of the families was from Venezuela.
Okay.
So I guess when you think of this Aryan food with it being multicultural, I guess sometimes you don't think about what's a cultural or what other people eat than what we normally eat.
Okay.
So
Right.
like the other 2 clients had wanted greens. They didn't want any greens.
Yeah.
They didn't even want lettuce, but they had wanted arugula.
Yeah.
And they grew a lot of scallions
Right.
and a lot of mint and a lot of cilantro.
See?
And then I had incorporated more fruit into their diet.
Okay.
So the day I did the install of the house, so it was I guess a multi-generational family. The mom made a fruit salad out of apples, peaches, strawberries, and another fruit with yogurt and lime.
Oh.
And then she made lemonade, but the lemonade it was oranges like. So I don't know what she used. And she didn't
He
really
probably
use,
used a sour orange.
It was, and then
something like that.
because she was like, "Do you want sugar in it or not?" I was like, "Make it however you make it." So
Yeah.
she made it. Was like, I didn't use really any sugar, but it was still nice and sweet. So it was an introspect to me, like, okay, with it being multicultural, like this is another way of food being prepared, and just looking like everybody doesn't always what I may prefer, someone else may not prefer.
Right.
But it was enough for them to sustain the way, you know, over there in their neighborhood. I think the only grocery store over there is the Safeway on Minnesota Avenue, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
So they were able
All
to.
that bad rotten produce, they sit on
And
the
they had
shelves
transportation
in the
where they would go
hoods.
to like Mom's and Costco, but being able to get those like the scallions that be able to go pick them every day, it made
Yeah.
they saved on not having to go buy it.
Right.
And even driving like Priuses, it's money they didn't have to spend on running
Exactly.
to the
Yeah.
store. So when I did the plan, that was kind of like the impact. I guess when I look at it, like what's the financial repercussion of you growing your own food, type of thing.
The economics.
So, and it's like, I guess it's to see, even when I was there with you, with the people that came to get your watermelons, you know what I'm saying? It was like, when one of the people said they came from next door, it was the app.
Yeah.
Because we were looking like, she was asking like, they was
I
like, nah.
wanted to know how people knew because I learned the power of that still to this day with all this social media and technology is still the power of the word. That word, the word is something because most people came by word of mouth. But then somebody came from next door. I didn't even post it on next door.
That's actually a very great marketing tool.
But it was one of the farmers, the other farmers.
Somebody posted
Isaac,
it.
the Cameroonian.
But it was a lot of people that came.
The next door, yeah, that's the thing. We got to put it on next door and all of that.
They want to know what's happening next door.
People want the watermelon. People want the fresh food. And I guess it takes people like you and I that's growing to show people it's not that hard. You can do it yourselves.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's the economy. Look what you're saving. It's the wellness. Look how healthy you're going to be. Because it ain't nothing like growing your own.
Exactly.
And so it's just everything, the mindfulness and the peace that happens when you out there. Because it is hard work. But when you enjoy what you're doing, it don't be feeling like work. Especially if you have people out there like you all who come out there and help me volunteer. We be out there talking.
Got
Next
the
thing
music
you know,
going.
Yeah, got the music going. I may have a cold lemonade or something, and nice little snack. And we get the job done together. But we do have to look at the collective work like you was saying. What can we do and where we take all of our different expertises and come together and make it happen. And the Farm Fund dinner was an example of that because like Chrissy, she said, I'm a sponsor the beverages. That was perfect. And she curated that cocktail list.
Oh, and that.
So well, I mean, the libations were on point.
Yes, they were. They were.
And so that's how, and you came through with, media sponsorship. Sean came through with, putting me on and hipping me to those, what they've branded and called ethnic crops.
Yeah, it was new to me also.
Yeah. Like, what is an ethnic crop? African American specialty crops.
I can still see Sean to this day at the farm dinner back on that grill. He did. What we had? Was it sea bass?
Rockfish.
We had
It was
a
rockfish.
rockfish.
Or
So
striped bass.
Striped
Rockfish.
bass. Okay.
we served what was native to the area as well, And that rockfish, he said, used to come all the way up through them streams and them waters back there in Hyattsville.
Wow.
Yeah, my father liked to catch rockfish too.
Yeah, because they
and
come
grill
up
them up.
through all the way up through Fletcher's Boathouse. Over in Georgetown.
See?
I want to go crabbing. I want to go fishing. I want to be out, but I want to be by the water. Okay. I want to go out to the bay. Can we make that happen, Sean?
Oh, most definitely.
And we need to, like we said, come together, do these events.
Absolutely.
Bring back the, chicken and dumpling vibes.
Yeah, let's relive
Relive those moments
those exactly.
where the family houses were open for
Yes.
all to come in.
Yep.
And there was going to be,
Something
that
on the
food
pot.
going on. That pound cake in the cake pan.
Ooh, I'm in Big Ma's kitchen right now. She
You
got German
know.
chocolate cake. She got lemon pound cake. All the cakes. Ooh, 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 ooh.
So, tell us what you got going on this year. What we should be looking forward
Yes.
to.
I guess that's the thing. I've been getting a lot of calls. Somebody reached out to me about
Damn, it's only
There's a lot of
January.
calls.
doing some more. So my grant wasn't funded for this year, but I
Okay.
still will be working with the client, and it was just fun to like experience. So you met Donna. She came to the dinner. The other
Yeah.
two. Well, one was out of the country. The other one was he couldn't be in the area.
Uh-huh.
So Donna is the one that was her first time ever growing.
Okay.
So like when I say she enjoyed it, she still. So I went past her house the other day because I had some books for her nieces. So I got to go past.
And you hipping the youth as well to the agriculture education, huh?
Yeah,
That's
so I try
good.
to share and share everything. And also that's another thing I try to like. I guess the good thing about ag is that not only so if you don't grow anything, you can still use it like the data or what you do. It's so involved that even if you don't grow, you can use that data for something else, and it gives kids another encouragement of they can go be biologists. It helps with I mean like what we're doing helps with your interaction or social skills, like being on the farm, and there's some kids I guess don't get outside enough.
Yeah.
So being out and having social skills and be able to interact. And then I guess the other part of farming, you got to sell what you have. So
Right.
if you don't have any communication or social skills to be able to interact with somebody to, convince them to buy what you have, that's another, skill set in its own. So like you say, it just takes multiple people.
Right.
And I guess what say this year for me, being my first year in this was like it was great. I was grateful for it, and it's like it just had to stop. Like I've been wanting to take a break, but it's like it's just embedded. But this year I got a few new working with Falani again, with some more farm to tables. I have some newer crops. So one of my specialties or crops I grow are like micro and mini crops for people that don't have land. So that's how I started growing in pots. So for people that don't have access to land, I mean like myself.
Right.
So who don't have it that can still grow, something. If it's no more than a little grape tomato they can put on their counter or a miniature eggplant, and that was the other thing from doing the market. So this was my first year also doing a farmer's market.
Okay.
It's a lot. I don't
Where did
like
you do it at?
I did it at the Spice Suite. I only
Okay.
did it one Sunday out of the month, and I was grateful for the opportunity. And it goes to I guess the community thing because I don't like doing the markets because
Yeah.
it's a lot of work and you don't know what you can
Markets
have.
are labor intensive. And
Yeah.
a lot of the, well, let me not say a lot because I'm not going to speak for everybody, but just knowing what I know, sometimes the return of investment is just not there for all the labor that goes into it.
And that's where you
So,
had to refine your crops. But the thing I
Yeah.
did appreciate about being there, it was a family environment, and it was one of the things that kind of reminded me as a child, mentioning going to like markets,
Yeah.
or just when you go to places in other communities, to where
bazaars and stuff like that. That's what I
Yeah.
remember
so
coming
to
up.
get to see like I can't say like the families come out,
Yeah.
like actual families. You know what
That's
I'm saying?
awesome.
It was a lot of elders, younger people, and then the other part was like to actually be able to interact with everybody at the Spice Suite,
Yeah.
the Spice Angel, Kamari, the other young ladies that sell stuff, and get to interact with other farmers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a good thing about interacting with the other farmers. It was some other the food truck business I had already like vended with them in the past at other events.
Okay.
But it was like, oh, okay, to run into them again, everybody becomes familiar. So it was great to have like an establishment of like community. So I'm kind of, I
So
only want to
you
do
walk,
one
you
weekend out
got
of the
something
month.
from it. Yeah.
So it was like the work of like I didn't like getting up, I didn't like harvesting.
Well, yeah,
to
that's
do
the labor intensive part I'm talking about.
but
And then
the
setting up the
reward
market itself.
of
Yeah.
being able to introduce people to new things
Yeah.
and share crops with them, and then like the biggest thing for me is like kids to see kids
Yes.
like eat and see different things. Like it was a farmer that had, yellow watermelon. So
Yeah.
for a child, to see that. Then I had, even though my peppers, so this year, I'm still growing hot peppers, but I'm gonna grow some mild peppers also.
Okay.
Because a lot of the peppers, the colors of them, the kids really like. But it was just, I couldn't, they wanted to see and touch them, but it was like, it's too hot. So I made sure this year that I had peppers that aren't extremely hot. And then some of the tomatoes, because some of the tomatoes people hadn't seen before. So I was like, just take one and sample it. Some of I did have a pepper that wasn't hot, but just to have, then my last mark I had okra out. So a lot of people, do not like okra.
I am not a lot of people.
But I convinced a few people to go ahead and try it raw, and this was my first year eating it raw. So when they tried it,
raw.
so when it gets raw, it doesn't get slimy.
Right.
So I just chopped it up with tomato, onions, and dressing, and ate it that way. So it was just good to
Nice
interact
fresh
with
okra salad, huh?
to interact with people.
Y'all, we in June. I want y'all to rest, but I'm also like June, July, August. Come on, no.
As a
I don't want to do
farmer
that to
now,
y'all.
I'm obsessed with summer, and I didn't like the summers here like that because they was too hot,
Hot.
and there's no beach in here like
Yeah.
that. Then I was swimming.
Where?
I eat the crabs from this mother lover, but you ain't catching me swimming in it. But in any event, it's the crops for me.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for what's to come. The peppers. Sean got some exclusive watermelon seeds that he's sharing with me. So this year we'll have more variety of watermelons. And yeah, so
Oh, and I got more beans this year too. Oh, and I have some new cotton seeds. So I have some new. So I've grown it in the past. I didn't grow any this year, but because at first I was kind of on the fence about it.
Yeah.
But I did sell some cotton seedlings at the market. So
now I want to know this. Why were you on the fence about it?
because it was one, I guess it goes back to the watermelon thing.
Right.
I didn't know was it appropriate or am I doing something? And I talked to my older mentor. He was like, ain't nobody tripping. And it was crazy to read. So it was recommended to grow with the okra as a companion plant because they're all in the same family.
Oh, I never heard that. That's new to me.
Hibiscus.
Okay.
They're all, so I grew a whole row of, I think it's 7 mallows. So I grew all of them together. So after that, and then, seeing people's reaction afterwards was kind of like, this year I just didn't have the space for it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't start them. So in our climate, you need 150 days. So that's 5 months.
Yeah. I think I want to plant some just
Yeah, so I just
we
had to
can
start
have
it.
as, out the cool. But it's interesting how they flip the cotton on us too. Same with the watermelon,
Exactly.
And now, like we said, it may look different if somebody y'all didn't say that, but I'm in my mind saying it about the cotton. It may look odd for a white person to be using it and having.
I was thinking the same. I was
But
thinking
in
the
terms
same
of
thing.
Us,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like again, it's so many crops that expose why we came here and the agricultural geniuses that we have with raising these crops that came from Africa.
Exactly.
They got cotton trees in Africa. So
And then to see
this
people,
is what they call quote unquote heritage crops, guys. But this is our shit.
I will feel a little strange if I come across a white person and be like, "Oh, I grew cotton." In that moment, I don't know how I would feel.
And that's a crazy thing.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I'm just being honest. I don't know.
so
That's
some of the
odd-
seeds that I've got,
It would just be very odd.
Yeah.
As I'm just
that's where they
speaking.
came from.
Yeah,
From where?
From white
from
farmers.
white farmers.
And see, because they're still growing it, guys.
And it's but
They
one
want
of
Yeah.
us ashamed of it,
But they're still growing
They're
it.
still growing it.
But
And
one
so-
of them I got this year is a native cotton from Mexico and the Western United States. So
What about there's a cotton farmer. They're pretty big. They're black
North-
cotton. They're in North
Black
Carolina.
cotton farm.
Yeah.
They in North Carolina, Northampton,
Okay.
North Carolina. Yeah, and they are all about that. Like, this is our, this is the crop. This is one of the main crops why they brought us over here. So, and then the cotton, because I had met this Trinidadian designer and clothing designer, and it's called The Cloth, his clothing brand. And he was talking about this Sea Island cotton and how they take the Sea Island cotton, but you can only find it in like 2 European or 1 European countries, but they taking it all from the Caribbean, and it's so expensive. And he was working to fight with some other, Caribbean designers to get access to their cotton, And so, once again, they make us be ashamed of certain stuff.
And profit.
Meanwhile, they cultural appropriate and exploit and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would love to have more conversations around cotton. That's one thing that we don't talk about on the show.
Yeah.
We don't.
The cotton.
We do not. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. This has been a joy, cousins. Cousin Sean, you're official. Your cousin.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
An official edible activist and an official cousin.
We could be talking all day. Sean knows so much, and
I know
so many different.
Falani be having to ring me back in.
Yeah, he like a food nerd, like a
Mister. I don't have a background in agriculture. Well, damn, you could have fooled me.
So thank you so much, Sean, for coming through, starting our year off.
Yes.
With great inspiration, and
I'm looking forward to all these partnerships, more farm to table dinners, learning more from Sean. I'm excited. Well, thank you all for tuning in to Cousin Chat on the Edible Activist. Sean, where can people find you at on the interwebs if they want to connect with you, follow you?
Sean's _veggie _garden on IG for now. So hopefully in the next month or two I have a website up.
Okay, that's all good.
So you can reach me.
You do have a website. Instagram is a new website. We'll make sure to tag your handle in the post too, in the notes, so people know where to follow you. All right, y'all. Right. This has been great conversation. Until next time, peace.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. You can catch today's episode on iTunes, Spotify, and Simplecast. And be sure to follow us at Food Talks in Color, that's just the letter N, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And did you know we are on Patreon? This is a way for you to take action and support our mission of amplifying BIPOC voices on the Edible Activist podcast. Visit patreon.com/Food Talks in Color to learn more. Peace and blessings. And remember, in the great words of Baba Tariq Adunu, there is no culture without agriculture.